It is my pleasure to be here to speak to all of you. And we have been speaking about progression, so I'd like to give my twist on it this time around. And let me first off describe the conditions in which I've been raised. I think it's appropriate for this. At this time, I am around 18 years of age, and throughout these 18 years, I have been raised in Southern California under a decent household, with a family, having friends, being able to have an education, having food, having a decent income on my parents' side, not really me. I think about what others live under, like what conditions they live under. If I were to say be born somewhere else where as a child I were raised to become a soldier, or perhaps be sold into like human trafficking, or on the other side of that spectrum, if I were born to be the inheritor of great power, become the next in line as a ruler, or just be the inheritor of great wealth, I wonder to myself, on either extreme, where would I complain? How would I complain? Because right now, as I live, perhaps arguably better than many others in the world, I can still complain, and people in, again, arguably a better situation than me can complain themselves as well. Perhaps what I'm trying to hint at is that no matter where you are, you have some level of dissatisfaction where nothing really tends to quench your thirst for something in particular, whether that be wealth, power, knowledge, and so on and so forth. So let me kind of shift the focus onto something other than myself, just more general problems that everyone knows that people face. On the global level, you can think about world hunger, poverty, climate change, conflict between countries, within the countries. On the community level, or maybe for individuals, could just be people having physical or mental disabilities, people having financial burdens that can restrict them from opportunities that others are living through right now. Or, additionally, you have people that are geographically or socially just restricted from achieving the success they want or desire. Well, let's also point out something else. The problems, or problem, that has been able to transcend millennia across humanity's existence. This happens to be the questions of life. What is the meaning of life? What is our function? What purpose are we here? What destination should we look out for? And in all these questions and all these dilemmas, anyone, any of you, can come up with your own conclusions about them, have your own answers according to yourself or to other belief systems, and then from there believe that you have an answer or a method for the answer of going around the question, either entirely ignoring questions or dealing with it somehow. Well, let me propose something. Let me just raise some kind of thought. Suppose I was the inheritor of a new universe, and that I was able to create a new world, a new Earth. I'm kind of lazy, so I'm going to ignore the other stars and planets and galaxies. But I mean, you still have the sun. But here I have my utopia. And in there, the world isn't so much different. You still have the suffering that everyone has today. I imagine a world without suffering would be really bland, mundane, boring. If anyone, or rather, if everyone was just bright and happy and positive, it could be pretty scary. I mean, I myself have had friends who have said, you know what, I've never really been depressed. I'm just going with the flow and I'm happy, and they just give me a good smile. But it scares me. It's just very unusual and abnormal to me. So in this world, the people still suffer. There's still crime. There's still people that can't walk, that can't see, that can't hear, that can't speak. There's still people who are corrupt in their minds and choose to do whatever they want for their own gain. However, at the same time, in this world, everyone is born with a particular function, with a very apparent one built into them, where they understand the need for exploration, for inquiry, for knowledge, and to have the understanding that it's important to be restless, that is, to be restless in entering a journey to conquering these different concepts and aspects of life. Furthermore, the people do not really use the opportunities others have been exposed to for a cause of frustration, of anger, and to maybe try to belittle them, although they, of course, are in higher standing. And therefore, as leaving out all this conflict within a person of not being able to have what another person has, they know that they can do something else. They can say, well, I may not have what the other person has, but I am my own person myself, and I have my own mission to try something else, to gain knowledge in another form, to explore somewhere else, to develop something that can be a benefit for others, whether that be exploring outside the world, although in my universe there's not really any other stars other than the sun, and no planets really, because I didn't really care. But anyway, aside from that, the people there in this utopia understand that they gotta care for their place. They can't just leave it to rot and not care about it. So that's a lot better than just throwing trash around and letting whatever developments and technologies that they have ruin whatever they have been born into. So in my utopia, the people there have perhaps been built with a function to progress, to understand others as perhaps a friend, and hold dear to them the inherent possession of qualities that make them human, that is, the thirst for this and that, what have you. And although they understand that while these thirsts may never be quenched, they are still satisfied with their existence to some extent or another.